there's a sweetheart in there, but we got to get the thoughts of biting people out of her head. Okay, especially the kids around. But you know, she's a what is her breed exactly?
Australian Shepherd and a Poodle.
She's an Australian Shepherd and a Poodle, and we both know them to be nippy, especially towards things that move, which kids do. So they're definitely, these dogs tend to nip at children quite a bit. But it's just the disposition of the dog. If we disagree with it and we do it right, the dog stops thinking about it. And the more they learn to stop thinking about it, they learn other ways to deal with the situation, which are just as effective. You know, once they accept that they're not going to be choosing their life, we're going to be choosing it for them, they're going to be okay with the decisions we make, and we're not going to see any of that, okay? But yeah, biting gets punished heavily. So first thing she did when I tried to put the collar on was snarl at me like that. And I wanted to see if she was the real deal, so I kept my hands there, and one eye did a little pop on the collar, right over at my arm, and then I gave her a firm correction. Now she lets me put the collars on, but we need to continue with the training so that we can get all these opportunities to address those thoughts about biting people, because that is unacceptable for a pet dog. It shouldn't even be in their heads, okay? Because thoughts become actions, and if she's thinking about it regularly, she's going to end up biting somebody, and it's probably going to be a kid. And it's probably going to be either in the ankle or in the face. You don't want to take that risk. Let me fill you guys in on something, okay? As far as like how to get them to continue to walk with you, and we're not using a whole lot of leash, but it's working. Good girl. The trick is, and sometimes you're just going to need to pick up a damn leash, right? But the trick is I'm not correcting any of her actions as much as I'm correcting her mind right now, because she doesn't really know the actions that I wanted her to do. If she's trying, like she was there on that recall where I was just beeping, 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 she was trying stuff, but it was wrong, she's not going to get corrected. She's trying. It's when she says, I don't want to play this game, and starts to ignore us and go, you know, sniff around or look, you know, do her own thing. The correction is to bring her back to the game we're playing, paying attention to the human while they teach. So if you see a correction, it's because she's being stubborn, which is what people normally say, meaning they're not trying to do anything. They're just saying, get away from me, in dog language, which just looks like sitting there. And then you put a little leash pressure on, and then you see this. That's all corrected here. So we get a dog to give us at least effort. All right, so that's why you're seeing, if she stops halfway, I start to beep. The beep's meaning try something or stim's coming. And the stim gets hotter the longer you take to try something. So this is the early stages. This is how we're using the corrections. We're correcting for a dog disengaging and not giving us any effort. That results in a dog who's engaged, giving us effort. And that's the mind you want to teach. So we're definitely, this is state of mind training. It's teaching a dog how to pay attention to a human, and that it's their job. That's what they're here for, right? Okay, let's remind her of this, because I think she thinks that we're here just to make sure she has a good time on this planet, which she will, but she's causing a lot of stress and pain, to be honest with you. And she's a puppy, and this happens, but they get out of control, and people have rough lives as it is. I mean, life is busy, life is stressful, and then you get a little furry, stressful mess that you're now taking care of, and you're like a year in, and this thing's just being destructive, and it's just enough stress to add to the pile of stress that your days become shit. They become garbage, right? Because you've already had just enough stress, and you add this thing into your life to take away stress, and it ends up adding a crap ton of stress. So by taking a dog and saying, hey, humans, they're kind of like these really special things that you need to listen to and make sure that you're always on your best behavior around. When a dog views humans that way, I mean, they don't even really need the training. That's just extra. That's just great, because you get this very solid communication. But when a dog views humans with respect, boy, they listen. And this girl wouldn't be here right now if she listened. Even if she didn't know a lick of commands, I guarantee you, if she just stopped when she was told to stop and went and relaxed when she was told to, and you know these dogs know this language. You know, you don't need to know lay down to understand that you want them to go out of the room. They understand this, they just don't give a shit. And so you get stressed, you know? She wouldn't be here if she listened. It's not a training issue, it's a it's the species barrier issue, right? She doesn't know how to take direction, or doesn't like to take direction, or hasn't accepted the fact that humans are in control, right? So that's the big issue, and then the commands are just going to give us extra control. So her state of mind needs to change. She needs to see us as very important figures in her pack. And when we say jump, she says, how high? Right? So, yes, that's the secret sauce. But you know what? I'm not the first person to say this. People know this too. If you're watching this, you know this. You know that you don't get respect from a dog or a child unless you start disciplining them and starting to take control of the day. It's just how it works, you know? She's too young to have freedom. Good girl. Good girl. That was nice. See, there's no correction there. That's just a beat. That's just a sound. But I can back that sound up with stim. If her mind starts to say, I don't want to try, leave me alone, human, that needs to be corrected to the point where they're not thinking like that. They just react to our words, okay? You're a good girl. Break. And then you get a dog who looks like they're actually trying to please you because they actually are. But you got to create that in a lot of cases. And she's young, so we'll get there. Okay? Good girl. Good girl, Roxy. Good girl. There's the conversation right here. She knows what that means. Good girl. Good girl. I know she knows what that means because I tested it before we came outside. Good girl. She understands what I'm asking of her. She knew with the leash though. The reason why she's not flipping around on the leash this time is the respect. What happens if you do flip her out on the leash? There's a correction. What do corrections do for us with our dog? Gets rid of things we don't like. So I can literally take the things that you were complaining about, start saying no to a couple of the really important ones, and they go away. And the cool side effect of that is a lot of the other ones go away too. Because we go after specific things we don't want the dog to do. We put specific rules in their life that make them actually believe that these other behaviors that are common, that people struggle with, aren't even an option. So we see a good dog without having to go through every single bad behavior. We just see a dog thinking different, so therefore they're acting different. And that's the secret sauce. Good girl. That's the secret sauce. Okay? Of course, have her attitude a little bit geared towards a permission-based lifestyle, even before I put her away on day one, if I can, which normally that's possible. They look at us for direction. And also I would like her to hear this beep and just start moving in my direction, almost without even thinking about it, okay? That's what I like to create on day one, if she can handle it, and I think she can. She's a smart girl. Watch this. Come. That's my girl. Okay, good girl. Come. That's my pretty girl. Come here, honey. Hi, Roxanne. Hi, baby. Hi. Hello, Roxanne. Okay, that's a nice. I think we're somewhere around probably like 6 reps there. 6 or 7 nice solid reps. That last one she came to me with just a moment of thought. No correction. Beautiful. She's headed in the right direction there. We might do a couple more and then end this part of day one. Got a few parts we gotta do still. Brick. Okay. It's wonderful how quick this stuff works, as far as not only how quick the dog picks up on the command, but how quick the dog starts to become a very respectful, well-balanced dog. Yep. It's beautiful to watch. Test our understanding here. When people say dogs are independent, they just mean that they're not good at following directions. That's all that means. So if you're going to a breeder and they're like, she's independent, or it's an independent breed, that means good luck telling it what to do. That's what that means. That's a nice way of putting it. Come. Come. Good girl. Good girl, Roxanne. Roxy. Not Roxanne. Roxanne.
She feels so much better.
She does feel better. Certain conversations. Letting her make choices. not forcing her, technically not forcing her to do anything, but showing her the new consequences for the behaviors. So there are the way I look at it is, here's the dog outside of Julia's Canine Academy, and it has a plethora of behaviors that it can do at any given point that it wants. It's in its living room. It can jump on the couch. It can get on the counters. It can go hide behind the chair. It could do thousands of different things, no question, no consequence. And then they come to Julia's Canine Academy, and we start to put them in a little box as far as behaviors go. We start to say, oh yeah, those behaviors are outside of your bounds now. And slowly as training goes on, that box gets smaller and really, really tight, to the point where we can get the dog to only do these 5 commands, which we call the these 5 behaviors, which we call the commands, and we can take them all over the world, and they live within these commands. And that sounds really strict, because it is. You just want that when you need it. Once the dog's compliant and we're good, we use it as needed. And when they're free of any command, they end up having a way bigger life than they did before, living in their living room. Then they can never go for walks because they're too much of a nuisance. Now this dog can go off leash in the woods, on hikes, swimming, camping, family events, because it's well behaved. Because when you need to, you can limit their behaviors. You can say, go lay down, and that's the only behavior I want you to do. And you can put those boundaries. That's really what that is. It's a boundary. It's saying everything's off limits right now besides this, down, right? And you get it, because if they go and try to break the boundaries or the rules, there's consequences they care about, just like for us in our life, so it keeps them reliable. And then they stop trying to fight the system, and they just enjoy their lives, and life is good after that. And your dog is further domesticated, if you will, easier to live with, you know, and that's really what happens here. So, of course, day one, the dog who lives in the Wild West comes to get educated here at Julia's Canine Academy. They're not used to these restrictions, so they can get frustrated very fast. Some dogs get frustrated extremely fast. Like if you don't let them in the door immediately, it blows their mind, and they have a little, they tweak out like a 2-year-old. You know, they just flip out. And I'm talking full-grown dogs, not just puppies. 7 years old, it's over here having a little fit because it can't go in the door as soon as it wants to. These are the types of dogs we deal with. And these dogs also are like, you know what, I've had success biting people in the past. Let me just try that now. You know, so they just start throwing out dangerous behaviors too, because they're frustrated. And we see that all the time on day one, because as soon as they hit the leash with us, we're like, no, you can't pull us. And that will frustrate a dog, because they want to go to that tree. So now they're starting to get frustrated with the fact that there's a leash on them, so they start biting at the leash. All sorts of stuff that we see, because, and the owner might never see, because they never put their behavior, they never put those boundaries up to say, no, you can't do that, and watch the dog get frustrated and see the true colors of the dog, because the dog has no coping skills, because they went their whole puppyhood not learning how to wait for things, not learning that they can't always get what they want. So then when they finally get somewhere like here, because those behaviors got them in big trouble, they probably bit somebody, they probably bit the owner, they probably bit a kid, they're causing some type of pain, emotionally, physically, both usually, and then they end up here, and then we put these boundaries up, and the dog says, oh, hell no. And then they realize it doesn't work, and that there's an easier path with a whole bunch of rewards waiting for you and a nice relationship with the handler. And they choose the path of least resistance, because we're consistent, and we've never seen a dog that won't adapt to a more balanced, structured lifestyle. They will, as long as there's the people that know how to do it, and they're consistent. And that's what we do. So day one, you get a 9-month-old puppy, or you get a 9-year-old human aggressive dog, it really starts with the fact that they don't know how to listen to humans. Both of those dogs. Luckily for her, she's gonna go through this young, she's 9 months, so she's gonna learn how to listen and how to be led and how to follow and all of the benefits that come along with following, you know, which is a low stress lifestyle for her and lots of fun. But when we say lay down for a couple hours, lay down for a couple hours. When we say come back to us from the hiking trail that you were just romping around on, having a good time, come back to us, right? When we say go into the kennel and be quiet for 8 hours because we're trying to sleep, please do that. And there's consequences for if they don't, so they will. And everybody's happy then. Even the dog's happier post-training eventually when everything is said and done. Day one though, they don't know that. They're like, who the heck is this person telling me not to pull on the leash? Okay? So, that's our bread and butter. This is what we do. So let's get to work on this young lady and get her an awesome companion and get those dirty thoughts, those naughty thoughts out of her mind. All right? And bring out the best qualities of her. Okay? Let's go.